She came to the library to escape noise. Not sound exactly, but the constant pull of notifications, conversations that led nowhere, days that felt too full of other people's expectations. The library was quiet in the right way, not empty, just respectful. She picked a random book from a shelf she rarely visited. Essays, old edition, slightly worn cover. She liked that someone else had chosen it many times before her. When she sat down and opened it, a folded piece of paper slipped out and landed on the table. It wasn't a bookmark. It was a note. If you're reading this, I hope you needed this book as much as I did. Page 73 mattered to me. Maybe it will matter to you too. No name. No date. She smiled without meaning to. She read page 73 carefully. Then again. The passage was about timing, about how people often arrive in our lives when we're finally quiet enough to notice them. It felt personal in a way that made her sit back and exhale. Over the next few weeks, she returned to the same section more often. Sometimes to read, sometimes just to sit. One afternoon, she noticed another note in a different book nearby. Same handwriting, same folded edge. Some thoughts are easier to leave behind than to say out loud. She began to look for them. They weren't everywhere, just enough to feel intentional. Small observations about life, about patience, about choosing honesty over comfort. It became a quiet ritual, finding the notes, reading them, putting them back exactly where they belonged. One evening, as the library prepared to close, she reached for a book and found a final note. If you're still reading these, I'm usually here on Thursdays. Same table. No pressure. Her heart beat faster than she expected. The next Thursday, she arrived early and chose a seat across the room, pretending to read while watching the space he described. When someone finally sat there, he didn't look mysterious or dramatic. Just calm, focused, real. Their eyes met briefly. He smiled, not surprised, not hopeful. Just open. They talked quietly. About books. About why some thoughts feel safer written than spoken. About how easy it is to miss people who are waiting patiently to be found. They didn't rush anything after that. The notes stopped appearing. They weren't needed anymore. Some connections don't begin with conversation. They begin with words left behind, waiting for the right person to read them slowly enough to listen. They didn't sit together that first evening for long. The library was closing, chairs scraping softly, lights dimming one row at a time. They packed their books slowly, neither of them in a hurry, but neither wanting to push the moment forward too fast. At the door, he asked if she came often. She answered honestly that she had started coming because of the notes, but stayed because of the quiet. He smiled at that, like it made sense. They began meeting on Thursdays after that. Always in the library at first. Same table. Different books. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they didn't. Silence between them felt natural, shared, like part of the agreement. He told her he started leaving notes during a time when speaking felt too exposed, when writing was the only way he could be precise without feeling vulnerable. She admitted that reading them had made her feel less alone than conversations ever had. Eventually, they carried the ritual outside. Coffee after closing time. Walks through streets that felt calmer at night. The notes became stories he told her instead, thoughts he no longer needed to hide between pages. She listened the same way she read them, slowly, attentively, without trying to rush to meaning. One evening, she asked if he missed leaving the notes behind. He thought about it before answering. He said the notes had done their job. They weren't meant to last forever. They were meant to find one person who would read them and stay. The library stayed part of their lives, but it no longer felt like the beginning. It felt like a reference point. A reminder that sometimes the quietest invitations lead to the deepest connections. Some words are written to be discovered. Others are written so they can finally be spoken out loud.